This conference will now be recorded.
What is up?
Nothing much, man.
Good to
Busy
see
day
you,
running
man.
around, staying busy, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Good
How
deal.
you
Good deal.
doing?
Where you at now? Are you here in Lawrence? Or are you? Um,
No, I am. Well, after this interview, I'm gonna head to Leavenworth. I have an office
okay.
in Leavenworth, and I have one in Ottawa.
Ottawa, Kansas. Okay. All right. You're freezing
Small
up on me a
town.
little bit. Oh,
Is
there you
it?
go. Cool. There we
Okay.
go. Cool. 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 So, well, shoot, I'll make this quick. Then I know, like I said, you got to be on your way and whatnot. Um, so typically, I would have a nice little bio and so forth. But it's hard to Google us anymore. I played when you played, and I tried to Google it, and I couldn't find, much of the history and so forth of your playing days, and so it makes it a little harder with that next step. But you know, nonetheless, um, let me just go ahead and introduce, I guess, kind of talk to again current student athletes as far as this intro is concerned. My name is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor with Edmonds Duncan Investment Advisors here in Lawrence, Kansas. Played football for the University of Kansas as a student athlete, obviously. Played there for 3 years, was star for 3 years, enjoyed my time. Um, Very passionate about financial literacy for student athletes, and that's what kind of brought me to this step as far as these different interview uh, sessions, if you will. And so I want to introduce my man, Eric Patterson. Eric and I had played ball back in the day, and just thought he'd be a good resource as well. And so what I was referencing to Eric is typically I just kind of talk about a little bit about you and your background. So if you can kind of just talk about, obviously your playing days and, uh, you know, some things that happened when you were playing.
Okay. Well, yeah, again, my name is Eric Patterson, and I work for University of Kansas in the education. I run a trio program for middle school, high school, and adults. And originally, I'm from Long Beach, California, and I came to Kansas to play football and run track on scholarship, where I started a few years on the football team, um, and it's pretty high in the conference in track and field every year. So I enjoyed my time at the University of Kansas very much.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, you're definitely a different cat than most. Like I said, being able to do two different sports. That wear and tear my body from football. I don't know how you did it, man.
I don't know how
I
I
don't
did it
know.
either.
So kind of starting off, kind of tell me a little bit about your thoughts and so forth when you first started school, freshman, sophomore year, in regards to just, or just money in general, money management. Did you have an idea? Did someone ever talk to you about it all?
Unfortunately, no. I
Yeah.
came from, I was raised by a single mom, and we were on Section 8. We didn't have a lot. So when I got to Kansas, I got there with two pairs of jeans, a pair of shorts, a suit from my senior prom, and just a few things. When I had money in my pocket, it was totally different. I got a Pell Grant and went crazy. I'd never had that much money to myself before, so
Sure.
unfortunately, no, I did not have anyone that put me up on game when it came to managing my finances.
Okay. Okay. Um, so from a credit standpoint, would the credit still be the same as well? Never was introduced to credit until you got to college or maybe after college, as far as what credit is, how it works, and so forth.
I had heard about credit, heard about people using credit cards. I can tell you a story about getting a credit card in college. That was one of the worst things I could ever do. But people make jokes about it, but it actually happened to me. My credit was screwed before I even had a chance. You know, I
Oh
had
wow.
I had credit cards put in my name. I had cars. I had bills put in my name uh, from different people in my family. So when I became an adult, my credit was already screwed up. It had
Oh
nothing to do with me.
wow, man, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Had no- Wow. Okay. So when you're in college, then I know you said that once you got that Pell Grant, kind of went crazy with it because that's the most you really had, ever. And so, did you just kind of learn through school, through trials and error, as far as how to kind of deal with money, or was it just, you know, just kind of let it go?
It was definitely trial and error. I got a credit card, Pell Grant. I got some clothes because, I didn't need clothes when I first got there. I got some clothes, some shoes. I got a credit card. I bought a stereo system.
Yeah,
College student, you got to have a stereo system.
you got to
So,
have a stereo system, right?
but I had to get a big one, so it cost a little bit more than your average stereo system. And had to make sure that everyone knew that we were there in the basement of the towers. So,
Right, right. No, I hear you.
so again, yeah, trial and error. That bill came. They want that money. I didn't know that. I thought you could make $5 here, $10 there, but no, they want a substantial payment, making sure that you're paying that credit card back. Um, so yeah, I had no idea. It was definitely trial and error.
Yeah, and that payment though, that payment typically just goes to interest. It doesn't even hit that principal for a while. What makes it so bad? That's how they kind of get you to, keep paying and paying on something that only costs X amount of dollars in the first place.
Yeah, and
Um,
I had no idea
my next
about
question
principal
was,
and interest, and so
oh yeah, yeah, that's true. So the next question, I think you probably already even touched on. What was your first or your worst financial decision that you made, and what was your best? And I would imagine the stereo, would that be the worst, or what would you say?
looking back, I would say, yeah, the worst purchase I could have made. Well, the worst decision I made was one, getting a credit card without having
Yeah.
any knowledge of how to maintain one. I think the best decision I made was getting rid of the credit card and not incurring more debt on it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then looking back on college now, and again, it's kind of reference another question, but looking back, what you done different in regards to dealing with your money? Obviously, I would imagine the credit card is the main thing, just not getting to that game in the first place.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that situation in the first place. Looking back, if I could change anything, it would be having someone like you, to help, being able to go to someone like you to learn about these things. That definitely, hindsight 2020, would be something that I would do.
Right. 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 Okay. Um, so now that obviously, you passed college and working and well into your career, um, some of the habits that you had in college, how have those formed what you're doing now? I mean, is it, again, I know you went through this trial and error situation, and then now that you're out and you're working, I mean, are your habits changed quite a bit then?
I'd say they substantially changed. One being that now I have kids, I have people that depend on me, so it's vital that I manage my assets, my finances to make sure that their future is secure. Putting money away for them. And
Mhm.
so the biggest thing that's changed is being selfless and not just focusing on myself. So not having to, back then it was just, get in where you fit
Yeah,
in. So,
yeah, yeah,
I could live off of, ramen noodles or live off of just things that today would not be very good for my body. They weren't good then, but they're worse now.
yeah, yeah. It
So,
takes a toll, man. We're getting old.
yes, sir. So,
Yeah,
being responsible now and watching my money, having several different accounts where that money goes. And,
absolutely.
those are things that I would have never done back then.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
and
All
the funny
right.
thing is, now, similar to you, I help teach financial literacy to people that come from impoverished areas, first generation low income students that probably had a very similar experience to me growing up. So, trying to help them avoid the pitfalls.
That's awesome, man. The circle of life, right? Comes back around.
Yes,
Now you're teaching
yes,
it.
it does. Yes, sir.
I may have to pick your brain on some of that stuff as well, man. Compare notes.
Iron
Um,
sharpens iron.
that's right. That's right. What are some of the pitfalls you hope that your story today would kind of help prevent for some of the younger current student athletes? what would you want them to kind of glean from, these couple of minutes that we had to talk about it?
I would hope that they would stop and think before making purchases. Stop and think about what their goals look like in college and after college, and what they're going to have to do in order to get there.
Yeah.
Money and wealth doesn't come out of sheer luck. For some, it does. Some people that they're born with it. So for those individuals, it's a little different. But for most of us, you have to make a plan. So I would hope that they would make a plan. And if they don't have the knowledge of how to do that, hopefully they have somewhere where they can go to get that knowledge.
Oh, absolutely.
I would hope. And I would hope that they would also, I think it should be mandatory that they have classes where they learn about credit, where they learn about a bank account, where they learn about savings versus checking versus just different types of accounts that are out there.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it certainly should be mandatory. Yeah, I mean, even in high school, I think it should be mandatory in high school, even mandatory in college. So I definitely on the same page there. So those are, like I said, that was actually the last question. So I guess then overall, if you can kind of talk to the guys about what you're currently doing now. I know you touched on it initially when we first started talking, but kind of what you're doing for a living and how are you liking it?
So education has been something that's always been something that I've had a passion for. So I help to get people out of poverty, teach them how to build generational wealth through education. So getting through high school, getting into a post-secondary education. It doesn't have to be college. It can be a trade program, a certification program, just something to help sustain them and their families, long term for the rest of their life, something that they're passionate about. I think that goes hand in hand with being financially stable. You can live paycheck to paycheck in a job. If you find something that you love, you can build wealth, and you love doing it. So,
Absolutely.
So also, doing financial literacy and what else do we do? A lot of what I do does revolve around finances and helping people find money, scholarships, and find jobs, how to write a resume, how to sit down and talk with someone during an interview, soft skills, but just how to live. Overall, though, I teach people how to get out of their own way.
That's well
So,
put. Get out their own way. Yeah, adulting. Adulting.
Adulting. Life is hard, but it can be fun if you allow yourself to be a little afraid, but still get up and go through it.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, listen, those are, like I said, all of my questions. I definitely appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate what you do as well on the financial literacy front. So, hey, man, I look forward to seeing you when all this Rona stuff is over.
Yeah. Yeah. Wear your mask.
That's right. Mask up. Well, cool, man. Well, I'll let you get going, man. It's good seeing you.
I appreciate what you're doing, Pat. This is definitely well needed. So let me know how I can help.
Hey, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. Thanks again.
All right, Pat. Thank you.
Yep.
Later.
Yes.